Alright, what's up YouTube? We haven't had any video uploads in a while. Been kind of busy with life doing a bunch of stuff. But today we're going to be working on the Rustelica, hopefully getting it a little closer to being road ready. So let's kind of talk about what we're doing here. So for anyone new to my channel, I haven't uploaded anything about this car in a long while. This is my 82 Toyota Celica. It is a 22R engine. Last time I had some serious work done on this, head gasket went out. So we actually swapped out a 20R head. Don't worry, it's just 22R valve covers. It's a ported 20R head, and then I had to get the intake adapters to run the Mikunis back on here because the Mikunis were on here before. So we got everything on there, and for the most part, the carbs are synced. It runs and it drives. It needs a little bit more fine tuning, but the big issue that was keeping us from being able to do much more with this is the fact that when this car sat for about 2 years, all the hydraulics with the brakes and the clutch went sour. Shifting was really sloppy, braking was really soft, and you can just definitely tell there was air in the lines. So as you can see, we have already started to pull apart the braking system. The lines are off, the brake master is off. I have a new brake master cylinder, a new clutch master cylinder, and then somewhere under here is the clutch slave. I think it's over here on this side, underneath somewhere. But as you can see, I'm pretty sure the parts that I'm replacing are original to the car. It's possible that this slave cylinder has been replaced at one point, just seeing how decent, like clear the plastic looks. But you can see corrosion has not treated this too well. And if we come over here to look at the parts taken off, we can see what kind of nastiness we're dealing with. So here's the old brake master cylinder, and you can really see that it was probably leaking for a long time. You can see all the crud. I haven't scraped anything off of here, and you can see there's just all kinds of stuff in there. You can see the corrosions all over the place on this thing. The outside of it is its typical kind of wear. I don't think it was leaking from anything out here. I think it was just leaking inside the cylinder here. What's even more fun was this is the reservoir that sits on top of it, and you can just see how nasty it is as well. So we're going to obviously be rinsing this out. And then to make matters worse, although it's totally fixable, you can see the corrosion on the bottom of this as well. The little hose that would connect the brake reservoir to this nipple right here was falling apart on the inside. As you can see, it's all disgusting in here. And you can see when I was taking it apart, it literally just fell to pieces. So that's obviously not right, so we're going to be replacing that with some hose. I think this will work. Some stuff I've had, it's reinforced. There's not much pressure on this, so I think this should be fine. I might have to replace this later, just due to the fact that it might be a different type of rubber than this might be. But considering that was on there and was on there for so long, I think we'll be fine with this, even if it's just a short term to get it back on. You can see the new brake parts here. All these parts were sourced from Rock Auto, and I'm pretty sure it's just a rebuilt Toyota unit. You can even see the Asian Toyota sticker on the badge there on the side. And then you can see, oh, there's my sunglasses. Over here we've got the slave cylinder and the clutch master cylinder, which should be pretty easy to put on. I'll have to find where this is, but this should be pretty easy to go on. We've already removed the dowels from underneath of here, underneath the pedals there. So yeah, we'll get the rest of the stuff on and see how it goes. Alrighty, the brake master cylinder and the clutch master cylinder are installed. As you can see, we do not have the lines hooked up yet for the brake master. There is a bench bleeding process that we have to go through, which I will do here on the car. Basically, we'll hook, it actually came with the box. We'll basically stick the two lines into here, and then we'll pull them out from both the one here on the side and the top, and then we'll loop them back into the reservoir here, fill it up, and then we'll just keep pumping the pedal until there's no air moving through those lines. That way we'll know that the master cylinder is bled, and then we'll hook everything back up and bleed it out from the actual wheel cylinders and the brake calipers. We do not need to do that with the clutch master, as it's just one line, and there's it all the way just goes down to the slave cylinder. Alrighty, we are now underneath of the car, and we could tell from sitting for a while this thing definitely needs some love. We've got some pretty bad oil leaks going on here. You can see that's an actual drip forming there, and it kind of looks like that could be possibly just something simple as an oil pan gasket, just looking at it here. But if we look all the way up here, it's a decent amount of oil coming out. So what I think we'll do is when we get this running again, we'll go ahead and spray everything down, try to get up underneath it and get everything clean, and then watch it see what's leaking. Same thing going on with the power steering. You can actually see this spot on the ground here. Oh, it just ripped. You can see where my rack is completely blown, especially with the car up at an angle. So what's really interesting is I knew that I was having a shifting issue, which is why I figured there was some sort of hydraulic problem. And I'm still going to replace the slave cylinder while I'm under here. But if we look, tell me if you see anything. Tell me if you see anything wrong there. If you're confused on what you're looking for, let me zoom in. So if we look right here, that slave cylinder, the rod should be meeting up where that divot is, and somehow it has slipped out and it has been hanging out right there at the edge. So that would kind of explain why possibly I've been having some slipping going in and out of gears. I felt like the clutch was slipping, but it's a brand new clutch. I knew that wasn't the case. I figured it was just something not engaging. Well, I was right. So we'll get all of this taken out, which it's just so nasty under here. We'll get this out and get everything back in. Now that we have the old slave cylinder out, really easy to come out. A little bit of corrosion on it, but if you actually look, the rubber boot was in pretty good shape here, as well as the dowel. You can see there's no damage or corrosion. There's not even any cracks in the boot. And this cylinder here looks to be in pretty good shape. Just a little bit of surface rust. I'd say probably the worst of it is just out here on this bleeder screw, which is probably just because I think this was actually replaced at some point in the not too distant past. I have not replaced it, but somebody before me has. So I'm pretty sure the issue with my shifting was because this was not lined up correctly with the clutch fork. So what that means, I'll probably go ahead and keep that piece and keep the master cylinder, which is over there, just in case I need a spare. Alrighty, back underneath the Celica. Of course, I keep finding more things I need to fix, and while I'm under here, I might as well do it. I found this was over the transmission. I pulled it down so I could have access to it, but if you look, we have some broken wires here, and those are dangling over there, and I'm fairly certain this is my reverse lights, because it looks like it comes right off the transmission over there where the reverse selector would be. So what I'm going to do is since this is frayed off right here at the actual plug, it actually pulled out. I'm not sure how, but since that happened, I'm just going to go ahead and bypass this plug, unfortunately, and I'll just use some bullet connectors, some male and female bullet connectors, and then that way I can kind of switch them around and it can be unplugged later on, and then I'll insulate it all with some electrical tape. So go ahead and fix that while we're under here as well. Alrighty, I think we have everything back together now. Everything is bled. Again, we've got the master cylinder put back together. You can actually bleed these brake master cylinders just by using the two lines. Basically, you just push out you just basically hold the pedal down, or have someone hold the pedal down while these two are loose, and you'll watch the fluid and the bubbles come out. And they just kind of hold it, and then when that subsides, you tighten them. And right now the brake pedal feels good. I haven't done a test drive yet, but it should be ready. We've got fluid and everything here. This was actually bled from the bottom underneath of the car. Slave cylinder is in fact underneath of there. We saw it just a little bit earlier there. So we've got pressure everywhere. The clutch pedal might feel a little bit soft, but I did not see any air on the line, so it could just be me forgetting what this car feels like. But we will get everything cleaned up, take it for a test drive, and make sure things are good to go. Well, we're taking a little bit of a walk down the street over here to the Celica, which is about 3 or 4 houses down from mine right now. Clutch feels good, but we did create another problem which I need to at least remedy short term. So the tension here for the accelerator cable popped loose. I had this kind of bracket holding it down here, but apparently that's not going to work. So I'm just going to get it kind of wedged back in there so I can at least use the accelerator and bring it back over to the house. But I'll have to figure out a different way of, look at that. I have to find a way to tighten this down a little bit better. Might even have to be zip ties right now, we'll see. All right, we made it back over here to the house. What I've done for the short term is basically just added a couple zip ties onto this to hold basically the tension on the throttle cable here. So that should help hold this in place at least for now. I'll find out probably a better solution for that down the road, but at least that should keep it working. Went ahead and also pulled the main two jets out of these two carburetors just to make sure they were not gunked up, because they were before. Because you can kind of hear, it sounds like it's misfiring a little bit in this video here. Maybe there's something I'm missing. So that'll do it for today's repair vlog. We got everything done today that we wanted to. Fix the reverse lights, which wasn't expected, but we did it anyway. Put on the brake master cylinder, the clutch master cylinder, and the clutch slave. Clutch feels perfect, actually. Brakes still feel really poor, so that probably means I've got a leaking wheel cylinder in the back. So next time I work on this car, maybe this week or definitely the weekend, I'll pull the rear drums and see what's going on with that. Probably go ahead and bleed the fronts as well while we're there, but I'd be willing to bet it's probably wheel cylinders in the rear, so I'll probably just go ahead and replace those if it's pulled apart. And we'll try to see if we can get it running a little bit smoother, see if we can get it to idle out better, get someone to kind of look at it, check and see if there's maybe not enough fuel or too much fuel. We'll figure that out. I'll get kind of educated on those Mikunis. But yeah, thanks for watching today.